Hey everybody, what's up? How are you? And welcome to the Drum Set Room. We're going to do something very cool today. I'm kind of really psyched about this class. And I think this is going to help you with your overall performance, your overall drumming, and especially the way you approach playing original music or cover tunes. During Drum Week, I had a project for everybody, and the project was to record and play to one of my original tunes, The Way It Ought to Be, and just, lay down a nice drum track for it. Don't go crazy, just really hold down a groove, do some fills, and it'll turn out nice, right? Now, everybody's turned out pretty good. Maybe on some parts, some of the people tried to get a little difficult or try to do too much, and that's okay. But what I want to do right now is go over some very simple things with you about playing to a piece of music. First off, you don't want to overplay. Now, this piece of music has no vocals, but a lot of times we're playing to music that has a singer. And when a singer is singing during the verse or the chorus, that's not our time to do fills. That's not when a drummer should be doing fills. We do fills at the beginning or the end of a change. We do a fill to create an emotional response to something that's coming up. When a singer is in the middle of a verse talking about something, we don't go filling right over that and make it all cluttery and stuff. So when you're playing, are you just going to throw a random fill out in the middle of a verse or the middle of the chorus, or are you going to pick and choose its place? You have to pick and choose its place, not in some spontaneous random, I feel like throwing that note there, so I'm going to throw it, because by the time you think of it, that piece of music has passed, that note is landing at the wrong spot. Your motion and movement, your thought, motion, and movement have to end up on that right spot. So if you're hearing something and all of a sudden you want to do something for what you just heard, it's already too late. Think of that. You can't hear a piece of music and go, oh, I'm going to do this, and do it when that part has already passed. Then it's like, da, ba, you're coming in off of it. So don't do that stuff. Leave spontaneity for some other game that you're playing. This isn't a game, okay? The other thing I want you to do is really focus on your snare. When you're playing a piece of music, you've got to have that bop, 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 bop. The bass drum, of course, is important. That 1 and 3, boom, bop, boom. Of course, it's absolutely vitally. We'll get there. But that snare stroke is really a very distinct sound, and it's very defining in a song. If your snare strokes are all over the place, then there's no consistency in that music, okay? The other thing is you want to make sure any alternate strokes, you have your main stroke, a nice even tempo all the time sounding exactly the same. You would have your accent when you want to do, but, coming off the rim. Don't do that all the time. If you rim shot every single note, then how are you going to, if you're playing a song and all rim shots, then that means your ghost notes are non-existent. They're never going to be heard. They won't make a difference. And that means when you want to accent a note, you've even got to hit that rim even harder. Your rim shot is your accented note. That's it right there, as opposed to that note right there. So really be aware of that. And also in your beat, when you're throwing in those little notes here and there, they have to end up at their specific place. If you look at music, forget 16th notes, forget 32nd notes. Let's look at 64th notes. All those little possible places for music to land. But they're all very, very specific points in time. You can't just randomly throw a snare shot out somewhere because you just feel like jerking your arm and throwing a snare shot out there. It has to land in its specific spot. So I don't care if you're playing 8th notes and you're doing a 64th note fill. Those 64th notes must be specifically, exactly in their right placement within that 8th note beat. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to play along to The Way It Ought to Be, that song. Now there's a few things in that song. There's a tambourine. Listen. You hear that tambourine, right? That tambourine will land on every snare hit. So when you're listening and playing along to this song, you shouldn't hear the snare. I know that sounds weird. You shouldn't hear the snare because you want to be exactly right on it. If you're late or early, it's going to be ch or ch. If you're right on it, you won't hear it. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to hear it because you're going to play so loud, you're just not going to hear it. You want to play at a volume to where you can hear it, and then when you're playing with it, you shouldn't hear it. Now, I'm going to play to the song. You're going to hear the snare off timing with the tambourine sometimes. You know, staying exactly on that tambourine for the entire song. You know, that is an extremely, extremely well-disciplined person who's played to a metronome. And I could do it. You know, I played hundreds and hundreds of shows. I played with dozens of people, so it's not a problem. But, you know, if you hear the tambourine, then you know my snare strike wasn't off. So what I'm going to do right now, my hi-hat, I'm not going to, you know, I know this piece of music because I wrote it, but I know the elbow motion, eighth note doesn't really work well with this. I know the molar type of eighth note works better, but it's not drastic taper tip. It's just, it could even be taper. It's just that feel is what the song has. And I'm back here, I lean into my hi-hat sometimes, but it's fine to be. And look at my snare. I'm tapping the center of my snare. This is going to be my snare. This is it. Any song I'm playing, that's my normal snare. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's going to be my normal snare hit. My bass drum, I play heel up, but I'm not stomping and putting pressure. I'm just picking my heel up, putting down. Heel up and down. I'm resting my heel between the notes unless I'm playing a lot of notes. So remember, you know, keep your snare hit consistent because when I want that accent, that's it. I don't have to hit harder. I just have to change the placement of where the stick is landing. An accent doesn't have to be this crazy motion. A ghost note, that's when you're tapping a lot lighter, okay? So that's really a very, very, very intense form of control, and we'll get there another day. So remember your snare hits with the tambourine and consistent. Your bass drum now, we talked about the hi-hat. I'm not going to do any tricks. I'm just going to keep a quarter note. I'm not going to, no 16th note little triples in there, not triplets, just triples, one end, right? Not, right? So I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to keep a nice feel on the hats. I'll probably even play here for the ease of openness and comfort, right? I'm going to keep it consistent. But what I'm going to do with my bass drum is I'm not just going to boom, 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 boom. I'm going to try and let my bass drum feel a little of the underlying melody of the song while I'm just keeping that really good 2 and 4 with my snare, my eighth notes with the hi-hat, and I'm going to let my kick determine the musical difference of each part. As far as fills, I may do some, I'm going to try not to, but I may do some just because my ADD will kick in. But I'm going to keep everything very simple, stupid. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Now, we're not stupid, and we don't have to keep it simple, but this isn't a complex song. This isn't a song that's supposed to be overplayed. This is a song for you to create an emotional aspect to. That's what drums are, right? It's a form of communication. We're expressing and portraying a message or a picture by what we are audibly creating. So don't be aggressive, don't be sloppy, don't be hectic, don't be in a rush. Play nice and relaxed, keep everything going evenly, and just play. So watch me play this. This piece of music, the way it ought to be, is in the audio room. And I really suggest you work on it, get it nice and even, and make a video of it. I would love to see it out there. Okay, everybody? So here we go. Let me make that really annoying sound with this thing right, because I don't have the auto ducking set up yet, and I don't have my mute switch over here, so I'm gonna have to pop your ears with this. But I'm gonna play this tune. I'm gonna keep it nice and simple, but I'm primarily, my main focus for this time of practice, it's not playtime, is going to be to get that snare locked on that tambourine. All right, here we go. Okay, now I definitely heard, the tambourine. I know I was off on times, but you could hear when I got into it, I was on, and I wasn't being really busy. I was just really focusing on that snare part and really trying to feel like what bass drum notation, what bass drum feel works, where the notes landing with the bass drum. How does it feel? Is it better just to keep a double? One. So I'm trying to feel that, and I throw a little tricks and stuff, not tricks, just little licks and stuff like that here and there. But you can see I really kept it kind of calm. I kept my playing relaxed. I felt loose. The second half of the song when the guitar solo kicked in, that kind of felt a little better to me. I felt more comfortable playing it there. So, for me, if I was going to record this song right now, that wouldn't have been my take. But at least I know I just got through the song straight, right? I didn't overplay it. I didn't get too complicated. I didn't try and reinvent the wheel or anything. I just sat down and I played my drums to a piece of music, and I played my drums to complement that piece of music, not to go against it or show off against that piece of music. I didn't play away from that piece of music. I tried to play with that piece of music. Now, again, it being one of my own songs, I know I did play with it because I know what emotions I had when I sat down and created the piece of music. So it is a lot easier for me to create that emotional aspect. But when I did just play it just now, I left a lot of that out. I was really focusing on that tambourine and my snare, really trying to get that locked. If I can get that locked, and then I can make sure that this feels right with it, you know what I mean? I know I'm on the right path. And then the bass drum is going to find that melodic rhythm, there we go, melodic rhythm to kind of complement in between the snare notes and stuff. And I didn't do any ghost notes. I didn't do any alternate stroking notes or anything like that. I kept whatever fills I did nice and simple this time. Of course, we can make it more complex and play crazy beats to it. But do we need to? All the time. We definitely don't. So listen, everyone, I'm JS. Make sure you get out there and you let everybody know what we're doing here at mydrumlife.com. It's absolutely an entirely different thing than everyone else is doing. So we do have that whole unique aspect of standing alone. But in the end, it is about drum lessons. It is about expanding our playing, expanding our horizons, expanding our color palette behind the drum set, and that's what we're doing here. We're breaking down the technical, musical, symmetrical, ergonomical, healthy aspects of drumming and showing how this really can benefit you, me, and everybody else around us. Remember, drumming is a form of communication. How are you going to send your message out there for the world to hear? Everyone, I'll see you next time. Good.